Okay everyone, this is me here again, and this video is going to be over The Witcher 3. It's going to be a review. I finally got to play it, or I guess I should say I finally got to beat it, and I'm going to say I enjoyed the game. I thought it was good. Of course, I got the game for free, so that might have been what went towards that a little bit more. A friend of mine got it from a GameStop, and he didn't need the key, so he gave it to me. And so, like I said, I enjoyed it. It was a good free roam game. There's only about 4 or 5 areas. One of the areas, for some reason, they split it up on the map, but when you go to one area, it's also there on the mini map, so I don't know what they did with that. But it was a good free roam game. I truly enjoyed it. The customization option, or the crafting option, I should say, wasn't too bad. I don't know, it was just something about it seemed a little lackluster. It felt like it wasn't really needed, especially when you're higher level, it doesn't feel needed. It feels like it's just kind of a waste, whereas in the other ones, by what I understand, it plays a better part in the game. I mean, I understand the first two games. I never played Ion, but I never beat them. I understand that like crafting and all of that, crafting weapons takes a huge part in those games. Whereas in this one, it didn't really feel like that. I mean, once you craft something, it's there. You never run out. It's refilled each time you meditate, pretty much with alcohol, for some reason. And so, I don't know. The crafting options just don't seem like they. To me, seem like they were just there. They couldn't make or break a game, because to me, the game what really felt helped it was its story. It seemed like it was a really in-depth story that I truly enjoyed because it felt like somewhat there was a small portion of Monster Hunter in there because you could pick up the contracts for the side quests and everything or the Witcher contracts. And of course, I would go and you would like maybe find where a person was, find out what happened to him, or if the Witcher contracts which were more hunting the monsters, which is what I truly enjoyed doing. So you would have all these monsters, and it was kind of neat being able to like track them for a little bit and then being able to find them. I wish they would have done a little bit more with that, but it was already a big enough game, which has a very, I wouldn't say a very long campaign, but a decently long campaign, which might take you a couple of days. I think I put 80 hours into the game and I beat it. So they say like, if you'll put over in 200 hours, I put in 80 and I beat the game. So I'm assuming that part of it is the campaign and the rest is like the side quests and Witcher contracts. But the main character in this, of course, is Geralt, and Geralt to me seemed more like Solid Snake. He just seems so tired, and that he just does what he does because it's his job. And so I see a lot of similarities in there between him and Solid Snake, so I felt like I could connect more, especially since that's how Solid Snake was supposed to be, and since Geralt seemed to be made in a similar way, I felt like there was some sort of connection between there. And I truly enjoyed the story in this, how Geralt was going and searching for Ciri through the whole game. And so that's pretty much what like the first half of the campaign is searching for Ciri. And then you find her, and I thought I beat the game when I would find her and fight at Kaer Morhen, but it turns out there's still a little bit more to go past the game. One thing I do wish in this game, though, was well, I found it a good game, and I do think it's a good contender for Game of the Year. I kind of wish because what they do is when you beat the game, your choices don't really seem to matter because you just get reverted back to before you beat the campaign with all the campaign missions just gone. And so you go back to what it is. So whoever rules no longer rules. It's whoever ruled during the game, and who all the characters, main characters, story-wise, seem to disappear. Yennefer, Trish, the Lambert, and Eskel aren't there anymore. Ciri's gone, and I was hoping that like you could maybe do some sort of missions with her contracts, or maybe you'll find them across the map, or just kept them there because it seems so empty after. And I was so disappointed in that. And I really haven't gone back to play it yet. I did enough in it. I got my fill out of the game, so I don't need to. I got the best armor in the game, which I kind of found it was neat. They had to go and search for the parts to be able to make the armor and everything. You had to go search for the diagrams and everything. I liked that. I truly did. So I felt like there was actually a reason to go and search for them because they do help. I would say upgrade that armor. I think I went with Urson. I maxed that out as my favorite. But I don't know. I want to say it was a really good game, but because of the way it ended, it, it it felt like it was lowered. And of course, I had low expectations for it, so it's better than what I thought it would be. One thing I will say though is this was made by CD Projekt Red, and they don't believe in DRM. And one thing they seem to be doing is giving away free DLC, and the expansions will cost, but to put the expansions together, they can be about 30 hours. One of them's 20, the other's 10. So I thought that was fairly interesting. I think that'll add a little more to the game, and I hope it kind of expands on the end of the game than what it actually was. Because, like I said, it just seems so empty and doesn't really feel worth playing to me to be able to continue playing after I've beat the campaign. It might have been different if, like, because my ending was Ciri became a Witcher, and I picked Triss as the romance option, so you live with her. So I was hoping like there was a little hut out there that you could go to, and she would just be there. But they didn't give that option, so it was like, oh, well, that's sad. And I didn't like how my ending was. I actually got a nice cutscene with Ciri where like you give her her sword that you made for her. But after that, it just does. I don't know if you guys have ever played Peace Walk or Portalox, but where they do those like they're kind of they look like hand drawn cutscenes, which worked very well for portable ops. And it worked well when it did it in this game, when Garrett would be explaining something, which is like 2 or 3 times. I wish it would have been a little bit more. But it has a oh, what's his name? He's the older Witcher, and I'm sorry, I've never really played Witcher games before, so I'm not really in depth with this. But he was the older Witcher who ends up dying in this, and he narrates after I get that actual cinematic with Ciri. It just does these hand-drawn cutscenes explaining everything else that happened, who took over, who you had your romance option with, unless that's just how my ending was. But I wish it would have actually done a cutscene where like they were talking instead of just showing hand drawn and have something doing narration over about how Geralt actually settled down and did contracts every so often with Ciri. But like I said, that's really the main downfall. There was bugs in it, of course. There was one bug where the game would just shut down. That was probably the most one that hurt this the most, which happened every so often. There's like probably 2 or 3 times, and it was really only after the Battle of Kaer Morhen. And there's one that was funny. It was when I was in Skellige, and I was trying to figure out whose child. It was one guy, and I had to choose between. You kind of choose between whose child will become leader, if I remember correctly. And one of the girl, she her cutscene was kind of weird because she would walk off, and her arms and her hair would just stay there where she was standing. So she's walking off without any hair or arms. And it was more funny than anything, but it was just like, okay. And there was another bug where, like, out of nowhere, Garrett would just start jumping for no reason. Just jump, jump, jump. And sometimes I would have to restart the game. Sometimes I'd have to just make it to a cutscene. But those are really the only 3 bugs that I ever had happen in this. So, besides the one that would just shut down my game, the other 2 really didn't impede on my progress. They really didn't hurt the game enough for me to hate it. So, overall, I found it a good game. Like I said, I got it for free, so I might have enjoyed it a little bit more. I've heard a lot of people like it. I think it has a good chance for being Game of the Year. It's probably the best game I've played in a while, but after what I've seen from E3, like I said, I just now got to beat in The Witcher, so I'm only now able to make this game, or this video. So, I think it's gonna have competition, but I think it has a good chance to win. It's probably one of the better exploring games or games like that I've played in a while. I, I don't know. I really can't say if the Elder Scrolls games are better, if this is better, because in a way there's still somewhat difference, whereas Elder Scrolls you can make character in this one you can't, so it's kind of hard. I think story-wise, Witcher might be a little bit better, but whereas like actually being in depth and connected to the world, I think the Elder Scrolls might be doing a little bit better. But I don't know. That's just me. The gameplay was fine. The controls seemed to work very well. They kind of seemed a little bit heavy in the beginning, but I eventually got used to it. It kind of felt like it was a different version of like how Batman or Assassin's Creed would fight, because you could block and then you can parry them in this, but you actually have to work on that, so it makes it a little bit difficult. So I ended up taking a lot of damage in it, whereas like in Batman I could tell when they were going to attack and I just click a button and block. Whereas in this you can do the same, but it was a little bit hard for me to do. But it was very interesting. As I said, story wise it does a lot better than what the Elder Scrolls does, but the Elder Scrolls series is a little bit better in like actually making me feel like I'm actually in the world. So in the end, I still kind of feel that they're own games. If you've played The Witcher before, you'll probably end up liking this. If you've never played The Witcher, I don't think you'll be disappointed, but I would say you might want to wait a little bit for it to go down in price. That's just my opinion. I don't think everyone who plays this is gonna like it, but as I said, this was just my opinion on it. So I will see you guys next time.